Part 8. Endless Silver Machine. Author, Muse Hiking. Chapter 74. It doesn't take long to walk to Center Street, which is the closest to the mansion. I haven't been here for half a year. Ling stood with her hands on her hips under the stone arch at the entrance to Center Street. Your tone sounds like an old lady. Ling responded to Aika's words with body movements. Aika hugged the heavily hit abdomen tightly and squatted down silently. There should be big changes in Center Street. The East District is developing very fast, so it should be like this. Xiao 11, hold my hand. Luo and Wei 11 held hands together. The coats the two of them put on at Liu Yin's house were one black and one white. From the back, they looked like sisters who had a close relationship. Wei 11's big hat was rarely seen wearing it after she entered school. Did something help her change her state of mind? Aika didn't know, and he didn't intend to find out in detail. After all, it's already good as it is now. Would the two of us imitate it too? Looking at the two people walking in front of each other, Aika suddenly had an idea. He pretended to naturally reach out his hand to Ling beside him. How is it possible? The loud sound made Luo and Wei 11 in front turn their heads to look at Ling. What are you two doing? Luo smiled bitterly. It's just that Miss Ling is too easily excited. Aika spread her hands and pretended that she couldn't bear it. This can be considered revenge, it's revenge, right? Ling's bangs hung down and she repeated something in a low voice, then suddenly raised her head again. Okay. Since you beg me so much, you want to hold hands, just hold it. Wait a minute. Seeing Ling's eyes lose their luster and leaning forward unsteadily, Aika began to wonder if her joke was too big. Miss Ling, calm down first. I didn't mean to force you into this. Looks like this, come on, take a deep breath. Hand. Yes. Under Ling's scolding, even though his body refused, his brain still made the correct decision to stretch out his trembling right hand. In this case, the scope of physical injuries will not be so large. Ling smiled slightly and gently held Aika's right hand with her left hand. Seeing Ling finally back to normal, Aika breathed a sigh of relief. Don't scare me, really. Click. Aika's screams echoed throughout the sky the next moment. As you might imagine, Central Street has changed a lot compared to half a year ago, with newly opened shops and streets everywhere. Although you can vaguely see the shadow of Central Street's past, for everyone, this is like a brand new world. You two, don't run too fast. I know, brother. Just after agreeing to Aika's words, Luo took Wei 11 and ran to the next window. Did they really hear what I said? It's finally normal to come out and play once. This is normal. Ling, who was pacing slowly beside Aika, said this angrily. The two people just slowly browsed the display windows on both sides of the street. Before this, the two had already had the experience of shopping side by side, so compared to the first time, the atmosphere between the two was much more natural now, and everything seemed so natural. If you say that, aren't you abnormal? It's just that I'm more mature. If I run around like a child, others will laugh at me. Oh? Mature. Can you please stop pretending to be meditative? Do you want me to come to you again? Thank you, Bulletin Min. Obviously I don't want this. Ling muttered softly. What did you just say? I said, it would be great if you had the ability to be resurrected immediately after you die. In this case, I don't have to consider the severity of my attack. Then you must remember that I don't have as convenient abilities as you think. While talking, Luo and Wei 11 returned to the two people who were quarreling leisurely. Brother, it's time for you to fulfill your promise. Okay. So Aika was pulled by the sleeves of both sides by Luo and Wei 11, and pulled into a shop in front. You can see the store nameplate hanging high in the distance. White Apron Butter Factory, You already know from the name what this store is about. The overall color of the store is white, which is perfectly integrated with the cyan stone tiles. Today's recommendations are written on a white notice board, accompanied by beautiful potted plants that are still alive in the winter. Pushing open the half-person high wooden fence and entering the store, the aroma of butter and baking wafts towards you. It's very nice here. The girls' hearts were immediately attracted. Affected by the birthday of God, there are now many customers gathering in the store. The originally balanced number of men and women was easily broken by Ika and his party. They did not rush to find a seat, but crowded in front of the display cabinet to enjoy the exquisite-looking snacks. By the time they sat down in their seats, it was already 10 minutes later. Xiao 11, your bamboo leaf dumplings are so cute. The stuffed rice cakes wrapped in green bamboo leaves look like little snow elves. Hee hee, because it looks good, so let's eat in exchange. Ling pushed the small plate with the cream cake roll to the center of the table. Great. This way you can taste more flavors that you have never tasted before. Luoluo agreed with both hands, and she and Wei 11 also pushed their small plates forward. I bought it casually, I don't know how it tastes. Ika doesn't know anything about pastries. As for the portion, nothing could satisfy him. And the cream was a little too subtle to accept, so he chose the simplest looking square honey cake. I thought you chose this one specially. Ling showed disbelief in her eyes, although this honey cake is not new, it is very delicious. Luo and Wei 11 also nodded vigorously. Hey, is that so? Is this a consensus for girls? Ika always thought that girls would only be interested in new desserts, but it turns out that there are still types who never tire of eating them. Lolo, is this a rum cream raisin sandwich? Does this thing actually have such a long name? Listening to Ling speak such a convoluted name fluently, Ika felt a sense of admiration. On Luoluo's small plate, 2 thin slices of pie crust filled with a large amount of white cream and raisins were piled into a tall tower. This is mentioned on the recommendation at the entrance of the store, and it looks delicious too. Everyone chatted while eating, and during the period everyone went to order some new desserts and drinks. However, this did not put a big burden on Ika's pocket. Leisurely and happy time passed unconsciously. When I left the White Apron Creamery, the outside was already shrouded in darkness. Because of the god's birthday, the shops on both sides of the street were beautifully decorated with colorful lights. There is no biting cold wind tonight. Walking on the brightly lit streets, I feel the warmth that does not belong to the season. Is there anywhere else you want to go next? The night has just begun, and there is still a lot of time to make happy memories. From time to time, my heart longs for such a time to last forever, but at the same time, I also know very well that this is just a luxury wish. It's not that we don't have confidence in the future, it's just that reality often doesn't go as people wish. Ika raised her head, seeing thin clouds floating in the sky at night. Not close together, there is a feeling of being alone, but they are watching each other from a safe distance. Reality is like these clouds. If people get too close to each other, they must share their hearts and show their true selves in front of others. Then, by maintaining an appropriate distance, you can avoid comparing your feelings to each other, and no one will get hurt. Endless Silver Machine. Author, Muse Hiking. Chapter 75. The craze for the god's birthday still didn't dissipate on the second day, and there was still a long queue at the entrance to the newly opened amusement park in the East District of the imperial capital. Before this amusement park officially opened to the public last month, it held a grand promotional event in the East District, and a limited number of advance admission tickets were distributed at that event. The 4 people who were troubled by the final practical test at Frost Moon Academy naturally missed this rare opportunity. Replays of the promotional video can still be viewed using PDAs. At the event, mobile photography was used to introduce some scenes in the amusement park to visitors. It can be seen that huge funds and manpower have been invested in this luxurious facility. So when they were making plans for God's birthday, this amusement park first came to mind. Now, Ling is at the front of the four people, followed by Wei 11, Lugo and Ika. To explain in Ling's words, this is to prevent crowds, so the two safest people are placed first and last among the four. It was definitely not because she wanted to step into the gate of the amusement park a second early. Sure enough, as feared, the tourists in the front queue accidentally squeezed back. In such a crowded team, the foothold was not stable enough. Although the force was not strong, Ling was still pushed and took a step back. As a result, the two girls behind were stuck together. Are you okay? Luoluo's back was pressed against Ika's body. Standing at the back of the team, he pressed Luoluo's shoulders with both hands, finally stopping the domino effect. Well, sorry. Are you okay? Ling, who regained her footing, turned around and asked in a low voice. It's okay, even though I was shocked just now. Wei 11 smiled and carefully returned to the readjusted position. Ika also let go of his hands on Luoluo's shoulders, but Luoluo did not leave Ika's body. Lolo. If we keep it like this, it should be safer, right? Moreover, if the situation just now happens again, I can catch Xiao 11 steadily. That's it? Ika did not refuse, or could not find a reason to refuse at all. Luoluo could find a reasonable excuse every time. Ika always felt that something was wrong, but when he thought about it carefully, he couldn't explain it, so in the end he had to do what Luoluo did. The team moved forward slowly. At the ticket office, personal ticket information has been logged into the PDA. Ika put his PDA on the sensor at the entrance, and a confirmation sound of beep sounded. Which way should we go first? Putting the PDA back into the pocket of her coat, Ika asked the girls waiting in front. Because they were the ones who suggested coming here for a vacation, a more detailed action plan must have been prepared. So Ika didn't think about this kind of thing, but left it all to them to decide. I do not know. Ling took the lead and gave an unexpected answer. Brother, there won't be any detailed information on the video. If there is no navigation map. Navigation map, a keyword in Wei 11's reminder caught Ika's attention. He took out a booklet from another pocket. Is this it? Luoluo took the pamphlet from Ika's hand, flipped it through, and then shouted excitedly. This is a detailed introduction to the interior of the amusement park. Brother, where did you get it? When I just bought the tickets for you, I bought them from the waiter, but I thought they were useless at the time, so luckily I didn't throw them away. Ika bought the tickets with 4 PDAs. He could have gotten 4 such booklets, but because he thought it was too much trouble, he only brought back 1. Then it was forgotten in the pocket of the coat, and I didn't think of it until I heard Wei 11's words. If you tell the truth, you will inevitably be criticized, so Ika chooses to hide it. Let's take a look while walking. The route you can avoid missing is Sister Ling. It's impossible to visit all the places in one day. Wei 11 weakly reminded Ling, who was in high spirits, but she definitely wouldn't listen. Let's visit the places that interest us first. We still have a lot of time to come here in the future, right? Ika offered a compromise. What brother said is indeed more realistic. Ling could only choose to compromise with the 3 people in frustration. However, her negative mood did not last long and completely dissipated. As if to vent his dissatisfaction, Ling first walked towards the screaming facility. Luoluo and Wei 11 didn't have a clear plan yet, so the 3 of them followed Ling. It's not good to play this type of game right away. We just finished breakfast. When he first saw the twisted track elevated in mid-air, the first person to protest was actually Ika. Yes, if there is still time in the end. Luoluo took a step slowly to catch up to Ika's words. She also felt fear from this roller coaster track that boasted a long span. Some parts of the track already visually express the concept of impossibility. So far, we have experienced many life-threatening situations, and the crisis perception skills we have developed have set off alarms in everyone's minds. Where's Way 11? Two of the four people have already circled around and expressed that they do not want to go. As long as Way 11 also nods, the eternal truth of the minority obeys the majority can be used to force Ling to give up. The question originally planned to be raised by Aika was asked by Ling first. My words. Way 11 looked at the people divided into two groups in a dilemma, and Ling smiled slightly. This is a naked threat. Aika and Luoluo could tell it at a glance, and Way 11 certainly knew it too. I have no opinion. I don't have any opinion on which side, please make it clear. Ling added. Well, I won't be afraid. Very good, in that case I will take Way 11 there, and you two can just wait for us outside. Ling grabbed Way 11's hand and pushed her toward the roller coaster as if she were taking away his trophy. How to do it? Luoluo looked at his brother with a troubled expression. I can't help it. I hope she will be satisfied after playing this. Aika scratched her hair. At this time, Ling couldn't listen to anything she said. She had actually forgotten this just now and made Way 11 a victim. Of course we can't leave her alone. Let's go there too. Naturally holding the little hand that Luoluo stretched out, the two of them chased after the white and gold people who had mixed into the crowd. Brother, do you want to rest more? Probably no need. Way 11, are you feeling better? Sorry, I forced you. In the outdoor tea shop outside the roller coaster, Aika and Way 11 slumped in their seats, completely losing the ability to continue fighting. In fact, Ling also knew that Way 11 was trying to show off her strength, but she forcefully pulled her onto the roller coaster just to save face. Seeing Way 11's tired appearance, Ling, who felt condemned in her heart, took on the responsibility of taking care of her. I don't want to touch this kind of thing again. Hey, I wanted to come here originally. The brochure that Ling unfolded showed a height-focused jumping machine and a majestic pendulum. Both were facilities that were as torturous as the Devil's roller coaster just now. Let's forget it. But Ling simply gave up. How about the aquarium? Conscience found. Aika muttered something at a volume that Ling couldn't hear. I've long wanted to see what the aquarium looks like with my own eyes. There is no such place as an aquarium in our hometown. Sister Ling, this should be the first aquarium in the East District, right? Luoluo looked at Ling, who looked expectant. It seems we haven't heard of it when we came here last time. There shouldn't be aquariums in the other three districts, right? There seems to be one in the South District, but it is a general residential area. I have never been to that side. I just heard Xiaoyun talk about it. Way 11 explained. So, none of us have been to the aquarium, is it understandable? Aika concluded, but doesn't it matter? If we want to see everything there, we may not have much time left. You can just come back next time. Isn't that what you advocated? Ling used what Aika once said to deal with him, and they are all interested too. The entire aquarium is a mobile gallery-style exhibition water tank. In the dim corridor that only uses the lighting inside the water tank, the left, right, and top of the head are covered with water, and the high-pressure resistant glass separates the two worlds. So beautiful. Being in the blue world, Luoluo expressed his inner admiration. The light refracted by the clear and undulating water sprinkled on everyone. Way 11, isn't it nice here? Aika smiled and confirmed to Way 11 beside her. The promenade is not very wide, so tourists basically stand in a row of two, which is relatively crowded. But considering the water pressure problem, this is a helpless move. Way 11's voice was immediately covered up by the crowd. Luoluo and Ling were still discussing the rare creatures in life in front of them. Falling down in such a dark and narrow place is no joke, so Aika stretched out her hand to Way 11. Way 11 was stunned for a moment when she saw Aika stretched out her hand. In this short period of time, she must have thought about many different meanings of this action. Thanks. Finally accepting Ika's kindness, Wei 11 slightly grabbed Ika's fingertips with her little hand. Is this okay? Don't leave my side. It's easy to get separated here. Okay. Wei 11's side face was slightly illuminated by phosphorescence. After spending more than half a year with her, Ika discovered that the cowardly smile in the past no longer appeared on Wei 11's face. Although she is still the child who always maintains a humble attitude and is good at observing words and emotions, she is indeed growing in all aspects. Brother Ika. Wei 11's gentle call brought Ika, who was looking at her side face in a daze, back to reality. In fact, it was just a short moment, and the two people's steps did not stop at all. The tourists behind him were still talking about their own topics, and no one paid any attention to this side. Even though he knew this, Ika still showed a trace of panic when his name was called by the person he was thinking of. But Wei 11 didn't care about this. Luoluo and Sister Ling are missing. When he noticed this fact, Ika discovered that the corridor split into two roads here, and the two roads merged into a circular area that was slightly wider than before. Stopping here would not disturb the tourists behind, so Ika and Wei 11 did not continue walking forward. These two guys didn't notice at all that we weren't following. There were no special signboards at the junctions, so there was a 50-50 chance that the two of them entered one of the roads. Are you going to wait here for them to come back? If they find that we are not here, they will definitely come back here. By the way, there's also this. Ika thought of the civilized weapon in her pocket. You probably can't contact them with a PDA. Why? The environment here is too closed, and the signals used by PDAs cannot be transmitted through water. It's so nerve-wracking. Ika's last trump card has been sealed. Brother Ika, if you leave here and go outside, you should be able to find them. Then let's choose any way to go forward. Which way do you want to go? Ika looked at Wei 11. Should I decide? The decision-making power was put into her own hands, and Wei 11 waved her little hands and feet in confusion. It's not such an important decision, so don't be so nervous. Ika smiled. You can go out no matter which way you choose, so just choose the one you like. Okay, okay. Hearing what Ika said, Wei 11 calmed down a little, but her whole body still exuded a sense of nervousness as if she was facing a formidable enemy. However, she does not treat anything carelessly and is full of responsibility. She is the Wei 11 that Ika knows well. Then, brother Ika, let's go straight. That road. There are fewer people. Okay, it's decided. Just as Ika was about to take a step, her hand was suddenly held by Wei 11. He originally thought that she had something else to tell him, but the familiar feeling of being held by her fingertips made him react. Wei 11 just held her hand as she said before. There is no need to hold hands here. Although Ika wanted to say this, she gave up in the end. It actually doesn't feel that bad to connect the two of them through such a small movement. Let's go. Maintaining a speed that she could keep up with, Ika walked into the corridor entrance chosen by Wei 11. There are far fewer people here than on the previous stretch, thanks to two different roads that divide tourists. No longer needing to worry about causing trouble to the guests behind her, Wei 11 pressed her face against the thick pressure-resistant glass. It's so cold. Then it bounced like an electric shock. Of course it will be very cold. Although the heater is turned on in the aquarium, the temperature in the water should not change. Ika put her palms on the glass, and a cold feeling spread along her palms and into her body. I feel the same as Sister Ling. Ling, Ika tilted her head when she heard Wei 11 talking about the girl who was not around at the moment. She always looked cold at first, but I think she is actually a pretty good guy. It's just that she always looked cold. How should I put it? You need to save face and are not good at expressing yourself. No, It's not, Wei 11 hurriedly interrupted Ika's sigh. I'm not talking about Sister Ling's character, although it's easy to misunderstand, she is a very gentle person. I mean. Her face turned slightly red and her voice became softer. Every morning, Sister Ling helps me apply some cold, sticky stuff on my face and hands. Although the process is a little uncomfortable, it will be very comfortable afterwards. Although Ling himself is not here, only Ika can know these words. But Wei 11 also felt very shy when she said it through her own mouth. Obviously I should be the one to serve Sister Ling, but now she is still asking her to take care of me. I already don't know what to do. Precisely because there is only Ika here, Wei 11 can reveal her unmodified heart. Didn't you say that you would always be by Ling's side? Wei 11 was not forced by Ling, but made such a vow voluntarily. This oath not only allowed her to stay by Ling's side as a matter of course, but also made it impossible for her to leave Ling again. I just thought about it. In fact, you have changed a lot, for the better. It's just that you didn't realize it yourself. The distance between everyone is too close, even if changes occur, it is difficult to detect. And just being by her side as a friend is the biggest help to her. Ling has lost the family she can rely on and is living alone. What kind of thoughts are buried in her heart are impossible for others in a different position to understand. Even if she spoke her mind, she couldn't tell whether she was being honest or hiding something. Didn't I say, just do what you can do now? Don't force it. What she really needs is not to see you in trouble, nor to let you make her life easier. It depends on whether you can be her pillar of support. This is just my own opinion on Ling, who I have been with for such a long time. As for Wei 11, she may not have thought it through yet, but she will definitely be able to draw her own conclusion. Ika finally added. Wei 11 listened to Ika's words quietly, her eyes following the fish swimming freely in the water. Ika also looked at the display water tank as she did. There are many tourists around who are standing there admiring it like them, so there is nothing noticeable. Just like she didn't know what Ling was thinking, Ika didn't know what Wei 11 was looking at in front of her eyes. Brother Ika, is it really okay to look like this? There was still a hint of confusion in Wei 11's tone. This does not mean that she does not have her own opinions, but because she wants to get validation from others. Yes. If you are too anxious, it may be self-defeating. So, just stay as you are now. As usual, Ika gave her a gentle push on the back. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Endless Silver Machine. Author, Muse Hiking. Chapter 76. Could it be that the two of them are back where they were waiting for us? When Ling and Luoluo realized that there was no way to use PDA to contact the two people who had not followed, they walked straight forward and walked out of the corridor. Hot drinks can be bought in the rest area. The two of them bought themselves a cup each, then sat on a bench nearby and waited for the two people to come out from the exit. Just now the salesperson said that the exits of both corridors will lead here, so if you wait a little longer, you should be able to see my brother and Xiao 11. Would it be faster if we go back along the original route? But I don't know which way they took it. If my brother and Xiao 11 come here and don't see us, it will be even more troublesome. Luoluo patiently persuaded the anxious Ling. Sister Ling, are you worried? Of course you'll be worried if you can't contact me at all. Don't you care at all? It's not like you think, it's just. Luoluo hugged the drink cup with both hands, and the temperature completely opposite to the pressure-resistant glass in the corridor slowly spread in his palms. At this time, you can only choose to believe them. Yes. It is precisely because we understand each other that we trust each other. Ling didn't speak. She held the straw in her mouth and took a sip of the hot drink in the cup. Let's watch the two exits respectively. There are so many people here, brother and the others may not be able to find us right away. Ling responded lightly. Affected by Luoluo's leisurely attitude, her initial anxiety gradually subsided. There is a lot of traffic in the rest area, including tourists coming out of the corridor and tourists who have come out but have not yet left. Looking around, the hall is full of people. Is this the exit? Luoluo and Sister Ling may be here too. Wei 11 pointed to the exit of the corridor in the other direction. It seemed that no matter which path she chose, she would end up here. Ika looked around and couldn't see the two familiar figures at all. By the way, can I use the PDA now? Ika found Luoluo in the contact list and got through quickly. They told us to stand where we are and they will come right away. After ending the call, Ika conveyed Luoluo's words to Wei 11. Brother Ika, what we just said. Of course I won't tell anyone. Only the two of us know. Can this be considered a secret between us? Secret? Well, that's probably what it means. Ika didn't notice that Wei 11's face was flushed. He was still focusing on the people around him. Ah, found it? My sister's voice came from the crowd. Looking in that direction, Luoluo and Ling were walking towards the side in a hurry. You guys have stayed in there for too long. We have been waiting here for a long time. Ling was full of complaints as soon as he came up, which was also expected by Ika, so he dealt with it with the excuse he had already thought of. When we walked outside the museum, everyone realized that it was almost dusk. Indeed, as Ika said at the beginning, the last day of the holiday is drawing to a close. The last airship departure time from the East District Airport is 10 o'clock in the evening, and the ticket was purchased yesterday. If you miss this airship, you will miss the theoretical test that starts tomorrow morning. Is there anything else you need to pack when you go back? Just dry the clothes you changed yesterday before going back. Luoluo answered Ika. Then we should still be able to go somewhere else. Where do you want to go? Ika looked at the three girls with this meaning in her eyes. Is this the last place? It's so hard to choose. Ling flipped through the booklet in his hand page by page and murmured. You can come here during the winter vacation. Sister Ling, Xiao 11, I want to go there. In the direction of Luoluo's finger, there was a huge Ferris wheel standing tall. The Ferris wheel? It looks so romantic. Ling, have you ever ridden a Ferris wheel? No, I've seen it in novels. I see. Ika lowered her shoulders weakly. The Ferris road is some distance away from here. How about we go and have dinner first? Is there a restaurant sign on this? This pattern is a restaurant, right? Luoluo put his head in front of the brochure. There doesn't seem to be one near the aquarium. There's one right over the Ferris wheel. Just on the way. Ling closed the booklet and handed it to Ika. Let's go. Why do you get so excited when it comes to food? I'm not excited because of the food. It's just that today is almost over. Okay, I understand. Listen to what I have to say. Ika and Ling took the lead, noisily as usual, and it was unclear whether the relationship between the two was good or bad. Luoluo and Wei 11 smiled at each other, then followed them. The twilight time in winter is extremely short, and the hours of darkness are getting longer and longer. The Ferris wheel rises slowly, reflecting the lights of the amusement park and the entire East District, shining with dreamy light. Ika and Luoluo sat together, and Ling and Wei 11 sat opposite. In the narrow cockpit, each other's knees can touch each other. This was the first time the four of them sat so close together, and an unknown silence lingered in this small space. The Ferris wheel rotates slowly, and its height continues to rise. It seems that only this small room is left in the whole world. I heard that the highest point of the Ferris wheel is the place closest to the saint. Is that so? Ling looked at Luoluo, who suddenly said this. If you make a wish at this time, the saint will hear it and it may come true. Luoluo spoke confidently. I saw this from the novel, too. No, Luo knocked Ika dissatisfied, someone has already fulfilled his wish, it's absolutely true. Then we will reach the top in a while. Have you made up your mind about your wish? Not yet. Luo lowered his head in frustration. Wish, do you want to pray for world peace? Sister Ling, this wish sounds so powerful. Wei 11 looked at Ling with eyes full of reverence. You misunderstood. Of course I can't make such a wish. Why can you say such selfish things so naturally? Why do you think I'm selfish? If I can only make one wish, it must be for myself. Ling responded angrily to Ika's accusation. I haven't thought of any particular wish. Would you like to pray that you can successfully pass tomorrow's theory test? Ling smiled mischievously and gave Ika some practical advice. I can pass without praying. I'm sorry, the ranking is always ahead of you and brings you so much pressure. Humph, you have to apologize to me tomorrow for this sentence. Ika responded to Ling Jiaxin's false apology, and the Ferris wheel was about to reach the top. Ika really doesn't know what kind of wish she should make. Although I know that this is just a rumor to trick children, everyone seems to take this activity very seriously, so they should cooperate with them. There is only one wish that I can immediately think of that I sincerely hope can come true. Whether we are laughing or crying, everyone can be together like this. The cockpit carrying the 4 wishes began to slowly descend, and the separated reality was slowly returning. When the Ferris wheel stopped, this dreamlike time was completely over. After the end, there is a new beginning. In Shimizuki Academy shrouded in darkness, Instructor Letica knocked on the door of the principal's room. Principal Phyllis, the official invitation letter from Tiburai Royal Academy has been sent. Is it the thing they mentioned before? Yes, I haven't unsealed it yet. Please take a look at it first. Teacher Letica placed the envelope with the sealing wax on the desk of Principal Phyllis. She opened the envelope and read it carefully. Let's inform the 4 kids in the student union first. Is there anyone else who needs to be notified? I have an idea, but there's no need to worry about it now. Principal Phyllis put the delicate envelope into the drawer. Would you like to go back together? Okay. Teacher Letica responded in a panic. This invitation letter was supposed to be sent directly to the principal's office by a dedicated person, but the other party mistakenly dropped the envelope into the inbox on the next floor. Teacher Letica, who finally left her office, found out about the important invitation letter, so she came to the principal's office specially like this. Tomorrow you will be responsible for invigilating the theoretical test of the twin classes. Come on. Thanks. Principal Phyllis's concerned words moved Teacher Letica to tears. It was unexpectedly hard to pass the time on God's birthday spent alone. Ika contacted Shun on the night of God's birthday. Unfortunately, he was still on a business trip in another city even on such a festival. The two chatted for a while, then the topic turned to the Nemesis Society. 6 months ago, when Ika and the others left the Imperial Capital, the Imperial Capital Defense Bureau was conducting an in-depth investigation into the Nemesis Society due to the railway explosion incident, but the results were minimal. In the past 6 months, the Nemesis Society has not caused any other incidents in the Imperial Capital, so the Imperial City Defense Bureau has temporarily shifted its focus, but it has never given up its attention to the Nemesis Society. Ika told Shun the general situation of the destruction of Shijizuki Academy's barrier a few months ago and the invasion of 3rd and 4th level monsters into the school. He felt that this series of events might be related to the criminal group. Of course, it may also be that the self-awareness is too strong. Ika, who was just an ordinary student, had no way to confirm the more specific situation with the senior management of Frost Moon Academy, so she asked Professor Coconut, who was affiliated with the Holy See, and the other party also said that he didn't know anything more. Shun is considered a figure with a certain status in the Imperial City Defense Bureau. Ika hopes that the information he provides can become a clue and help the investigation. Shun agreed to Ika's request during the phone call, and he would personally report what happened at Frost Moon Academy to Miss Ruth. The two chatted until late at night. After ending the call, Ika prepared to go back to the room to sleep. When I passed the girls' room, I could no longer hear their chattering. He originally thought that everyone would be too excited to sleep because of the next day's itinerary, but it wasn't until he saw the time displayed on the PDA that he realized that the next day had already begun. Endless Silver Machine. Author, Muse Hiking. Chapter 77. The final theory test of Frost Moon Academy ended in a tense morning. There are no new courses in the last few days of this month. The results will be announced on the bulletin board of Shimizuki Academy at the end of the month. You can log in and view them with a PDA. The winter vacation officially begins from the moment the papers are collected. Classmate Wei 11, can you come with me? Wei 11, who had just finished clearing her desk and was about to leave the classroom with everyone, was stopped by instructor Letica. Okay. Not knowing why teacher Letica came to see her, Wei 11 was also a little at a loss. Sorry, it may take a long time. Let's go back first. Today is the last day of school life. Luoluo and Wei 11 have officially worked in Moonlight Bath for 2 months. The two of them were supposed to tidy up the store with other part-time students at the end of their working hours at noon. The Moonlight Bath would not be open to the public during the winter vacation. We will also go to the Moonlight Bath for lunch at noon. Come over after the matter with teacher Letica is over. Ika and Ling are in no hurry to go home. The exam has just ended, and everyone has not yet made plans for the upcoming first long vacation. Okay, then, see you later. Wei 11 nodded slightly and left the classroom with instructor Letica. You should take a look at this first. Principal Phyllis handed an envelope to Wei 11. The sealing wax has been opened, but you can still see where it was sent from. Wei 11 knew about the Royal Academy in the Tiburai Kingdom, and she could occasionally hear this name in the Holy See. Exchange and learning. You should know what this means, right? That's it, this exchange study only involves our 2 schools. I want you to participate on behalf of our Shigetsuki Academy, and 4 students from the student union will also go with you. After all, in terms of barriers, our school has many. The instructors in the enchantment department are not as good as you. If I say it clearly, I just want you to be our business card in this exchange and study. But. The first thought that came to Wei 11's mind was to refuse, but the language could not be well organized, and her blank brain could not think of a reason to refuse. Let's do this. Principal Phyllis seemed to have thought of a good idea. You can choose someone to go with you. It's not a bad idea to treat it as a vacation abroad. Vacation. Wei 11 did not express any clear intention to refuse this time. She thought carefully about the meaning of this word. However, you must explain the situation to that person yourself. I will not use the authority of the principal to force him to accompany you. If that is the case. Oh ho, did you think of a partner so quickly? No. Wei 11 used her hanging bangs to avoid Principal Felice's meaningful gaze. The exchange study only started in February, so there is still a lot of time. Just solve this problem slowly. Although Wei 11's attitude is still ambiguous, Principal Felice can be sure of one thing, that is, Wei 11 will maintain this attitude until her actions get a result. So it's useless to force her now. Don't rush to reply to me now, just take your time. The deadline is set on the last day of this month. How about it? Okay. When leaving the office building, Wei 11 remembered that her belongings were still in the classroom. She hurriedly turned around and returned to the teaching building. It would be nice if it hadn't been closed yet. Fortunately, as she thought, the classroom door was not locked. There were still a few classmates left in the classroom, and Wei 11 heard their laughter before she even reached the back door. Excuse me. She knocked gently on the open sliding door. Ah, finally here. I thought you had forgotten about it. Way 11, you are the only one whose belongings are left in the classroom. Chiuke and Abby were leaning face to face at the table, talking and laughing, while Zixi was sitting neatly on a chair nearby. Everyone, is it because of me that you stay till now? Because I have to lock the door. I was originally going to send you to your dormitory, but Zixi said that she just saw you being sent away by teacher Letica, so I think you will come back here. Only the monitor and tutor hold the keys to the classroom, so Chiuke must lock the classroom door during the holidays. Abby and Zixi just stayed here with Chiuke. Sorry. Such a small thing doesn't matter. Chiuke's ears perked up. By the way, what did teacher Letica say to you? It's not a very important thing. Come and listen. Curious. Abby and Zixi were also interested in this topic, and came over to surround Way 11. Awoo. With no way to escape, Way 11 could only tell everything she had just heard in the principal's office. I know this, our student union is going there too. Principal Phyllis did say that the 4 members of the student council would also go together. Way 11, this is an opportunity, you must seize it. Abby, who had partnered with Way 11 in the final practical test, looked serious. What opportunity? Way 11 was forced back a little by her momentum, and 1111 also stepped in. It was a chance to be alone with him. Although I already belong to Sister Ling, if it were you, I could turn a blind eye. I haven't thought about it yet. Just go ahead and do it. We will help you hold Ling and Luoluo back. Abby gave a thumbs up to the confused Way 11, but in return, you must tell us when you come back. What happened in the Tiburai kingdom cannot be concealed. But even if she really hid it, we wouldn't know, right? Then check your body. The body is the most honest. What are you two talking about? Way 11 didn't know where she got her strength. She blushed and pushed away Abby and Zixi, who were thinking about themselves, and escaped from the encirclement. Way 11, let me give you a suggestion, Chiuke said to Way 11, who was quickly clearing the desk. There is still a month left, you two can go there to play first. Originally, we were all supposed to go there in February. We will take the Shimizuki Academy's magic ship to the Tiburai Kingdom together. I will find a way to get Principal Phyllis to agree to let you go first. As long as we can meet at the airport of the Tiburai Kingdom by then. Thanks. After saying this in a low voice, she lowered her head, hugged her bag and ran out of the front door of the classroom. Ah, escaped. Escaped. Abby and Zixi looked at the direction Way 11 ran away and sighed. It's not all because you two are so tight. Chiuke also picked up his bag. Let's go, I'm going to lock the door. Otherwise, Way 11 would definitely not know what to do. That's it? Although I feel sorry for Ling and Luoluo by doing this, I have always supported Way 11. Abby clenched her fist. She and Way 11 have always been very good friends. She would be very anxious every time she saw Way 11's hesitation. After Chiuke confirmed that the classroom door was locked, the 3 people left at the end of this floor happily left the teaching building. Way 11 did not take the elevator, but jogged all the way down the stairs to the school path outside the teaching building. From the beginning, my chest felt like it was being grabbed, and it hurt like fire. She slowed down and could vaguely feel her underwear sticking to her chest due to sweat. The air she breathed into her lungs was cold, and Way 11 shivered all over. She wrapped her coat tightly and ran towards the moonlight bath. Endless Silver Machine. Author, Muse Hiking. Chapter 78. The first time she entered the store, Way 11 was caught by Luoluo. While changing into the moonlight bath uniform in the locker room, my rapid breathing gradually eased. I kept you waiting. Looking around the store, Way 11 easily found Ika and Ling, who were sitting further inside. We'll wait here for you and Luoluo to finish their work, and then go back together. The uniform of Moonlight Bath is a blue and white maid outfit. However, the skirt is much shorter than the traditional maid uniform, and you can see the skin exposed between the skirt and pure white garters. A big white bow is tied around the back waist, and 2 flowing ribbons add to the cuteness. But wouldn't such a long ribbon cause trouble in the job? Ika thought about this question more than once. When Lugo Lugo and Wei 11 started working here, he and Ling became the patrons here. The first time they came uninvited, Lugo Lugo and Wei 11 both protested, but gradually they got used to it. What happened to teacher Letica just now? Ling asked a question that Wei 11 had only answered 10 minutes ago. At that time, because the other party was an ordinary classmate, I could confess without having to hide anything. Facing Ling, Wei 11 hesitated, not knowing whether it was appropriate to say it now. Xiao 11, there are more and more guests, come here and help. Luoluo herself may not know it, but she rescues Wei 11 from a dilemma. Hug, sorry, I'm going over first. Wei 11 hurriedly walked towards Luoluo. Let's ask after work is over. Ika smiled bitterly and looked at the 2 people who were busy. Both Luoluo and Wei 11 were not good at dealing with strangers, and Ika and Ling were worried about them in the first few days. I didn't expect them to persist for 2 months. Now it seems there is no need to worry at all. It's incredible that the clerk here didn't arrest you as a pervert. I haven't done anything weird, have I? This is a restaurant, but you keep staring at the clerk. Isn't this weird? How could I keep staring? Also, don't you glance over there from time to time? But I'm a girl. Ling's PDA vibrated in her pocket. When she saw the contact, her expression changed slightly. Sorry, I'm going out for a while. After winning the argument, she left Ika and walked out of the moonlight bath. With his hands free, Luoluo walked over to Ika's table. What's wrong with Sister Ling? It seems like someone is looking for you. Great, I just saw you guys arguing about something over there. I thought you had a quarrel. Arguing will only make her feel better and better. Ika, who has never won an argument with Ling, understands this deeply. Your work is almost over, right? In order to have a legitimate reason to stay here, Ika and Ling both ordered a drink to kill time after lunch. Thanks to the moonlight bath shift system, Luoluo and Wei 11 also had lunch backstage. It will take a while, sorry. By the way, Luoluo, do you still remember what I said on the train on God's birthday? Huh? Is there anything important? Luoluo put her finger to her mouth and thought for a while, then shook her head in resignation. It's about where will we stay during the long vacation. Yeah, now I think about it. I only remembered it after the exam. Principal Phyllis said that we can continue to live in that dormitory, but the monthly bath will not be open, so we can only solve the food problem by ourselves. There is no need to worry about that. Apart from this, there seems to be no inconvenience, so I think it's better to stay here. The inconvenient thing is that we are not very familiar with the environment around Shiyu Academy. Except for the commercial district and the affiliated hospital, we have not been to other places. The necessary ingredients should be available in the commercial district. You can go to other places to play at other times. After all, there are 2 months during the winter vacation. If you just stay at home, it feels a bit. I wonder if Wei 11 can come and be a tour guide again. About Xiao 11, brother, I have something to ask you. Luoluo looked seriously. Did you do anything to her? What can I do to her? When she was working today, she was often absent-minded. Normally, she is very serious when she works. Why do you have to contact me? Really, it seems that it really has nothing to do with brother. Luoluo put away his cold eyes. If you are causing Xiao 11 so much trouble, as a sister, I can't turn a blind eye. But why exactly? I didn't feel any different this morning. Could it be because of what teacher Letica said to her that it became like this? Xiao 11 has always been a very obedient child, and teacher Letica also likes her very much. There must be other reasons. Ling returned to the store, the look on her face was a bit complicated, and confusion took up more of it. She sat back down in her seat and gave the answer she wanted to know without waiting for Luo to ask. It's Tailua-senpai. Speaking of which, the theory test for all academic years is scheduled for this morning, and the second-year seniors have just finished it. After meeting Lilith-senpai, everyone established a different relationship with the second-year seniors who would not have had any contact with each other before. Among them, the one with the most subtle relationship with Ling is Senior Tailua. The first meeting between the two in the imperial capital was full of gunpowder, and then they had a head-on conflict in the Imperial Capital Defense Bureau building. Now, Tailua-senpai has agreed to let Ling join the discipline team she leads as the team leader. On the surface, the relationship between the two is just an ordinary senior-senior relationship. Although they don't know what Senior Tailua thinks of Ling, all three of them know that there is still a dispute in Ling's heart. Sorry, I may not be able to go back with you later. I have somewhere to go. Sister Ling. Needless to say, the two of them knew where Ling was going. Since Tailua-senpai took the initiative to contact Ling, and Ling agreed to meet, they probably both hope to be open and honest at the end of the semester. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Endless Silver Machine. Author, Muse Hiking. Chapter 79. Uegwin Bath officially enters the preparation time for closing the store. With the kindness of their friends, Luo and Wei 11 were forced to leave the restaurant after helping a little. Ling had already left first, and Luo explained to Wei 11 the meeting between Senior Tailua and Ling. Luo and Wei 11, who had changed back to their school uniforms, looked back at Moonlight Bath. This place will not be open for business for the next 2 months, and it is inevitable that there will be an inexplicable sadness in my heart. Ika stood with the two of them outside the store, and the two people who emerged from the shadows of the store could not escape his eyes. I caught Lolo. Lolo belongs to me. Wait, Abby. Zixi. What are you two going to do? Exchange feelings, exchange feelings. Ika, we borrowed your sister. Don't worry, she will be returned intact in the evening. Abby and Zixi pulled Luo away from Ika and Wei 11 without even looking at Wei 11. Luo looked at the two of them with a confused expression. Ika didn't know what Abby and Zixi were planning, but they said they would be back at night and there shouldn't be any danger. So he nodded to Luo who was drifting away. Luo originally hoped that Ika could lend a helping hand, but unexpectedly he agreed. Helpless, she had no choice but to follow Abby and Zixi's wishes to exchange feelings. In the end, there were only two of us left. When the backs of the three people became smaller and smaller, Wei 11's shoulders shook in fright when she suddenly heard Ika say this. In a sense, Wei 11 is also an accomplice of Abby and Zixi. The time message Zixi gave was to urge her. If she wanted to solve the problem, she could only use this time. Is there anywhere you want to go? Ika turned to Wei 11 and asked, if you want to go back and rest, you can. There's nothing I want to do. Then go back. Wei 11's mind went blank. It must be said now, but how? How to say it without making him feel disgusted? What should the first sentence be? Wei 11 fell into severe confusion. Ika walked slowly along the main road of the school casually, completely unaware of Wei 11's troubles. By the way, let's go and take a look at that place. Ika pointed to the large library where the spire could be seen not far away. The courtyard in that place seems to have been repaired a long time ago. I want to take a look, what do you think? Okay. Wei 11 had no time to think about such leisurely things. Her brain, which could weave countless magic spells at will, was now unable to organize a few words. After getting Wei 11's consent, Ika changed the destination to the Great Library. In the entire Frost Moon Academy, Ika only had an indissoluble bond with this large library. I met Lilith Senpai here and used the power of the magic weapon Fire Eyes for the first time. Speaking of which, what is Lilith Senpai doing now? The last time I met Senior Lilith was a week ago. After that, the two occasionally communicated using PDA, but as the theoretical test approached, the frequency became less and less. The big library will also be closed during holidays, but only a few seniors in the senior class were involved in the preparations for the closure, so Ika did not receive notification of their participation. Senior Lilith should still be in the big library now. It would be nice if she could say goodbye in person before returning to the imperial capital. But for now, let's go to the courtyard with Way 11 to take a look. Ika had noticed that along the way, Way 11 basically didn't say anything except occasionally responding to her own questions. He remembered that Lugo had discussed Way 11's abnormality with him during the moonlight bath. Way 11. She didn't react at all, just moved her legs mechanically. Xiao 11. Ika tried calling Lugo, and Way 11 suddenly turned her head. Why? Her face turned red and her words became stammered. Sorry, you didn't respond when I called you just now, so I'll try another way to see if it will have any effect. No, I should say sorry. Cheer up, Ika knelt down in front of her. Although I don't know what you are worried about, you can always come to me and tell me what you want to say. If you can't tell me something, talk to Lugo. Helling said it was okay. For some things, it may be difficult for a person to rack his brains to get the result. It would be much easier if he complained to others. There is no need to worry about causing trouble to us. It is better to say that you look downcast. It's a big trouble for us. Lugo is very worried about you. Sorry. This habit needs to be changed. I think this isn't the first time I've said this to you, right? Ling also said that I have this habit of apologizing casually. Then I thought about why this happened. I didn't think clearly before explaining this is indeed a convenient saying. However, if you rely too much on it, what should I say? It just doesn't feel good anyway. Did Sister Ling say that? Yeah, if she hadn't brought it up, I definitely wouldn't have noticed it until now. I see. Seeing Way 11 regaining her energy, Ika smiled and stood up. The courtyard not far from the front of the Great Library has been restored to its original appearance. The river flowed slowly from the side, and the fallen leaves around the small pavilion by the river were swept together and piled into a cone shape at the base of a big tree. Now is the season when the garden is at its most desolate, and there is nothing worth admiring. But precisely because of this, it is quiet and one of the best places to relax. Although Ika worked as a librarian in the Grand Library, he knew that the garden would not be visible from that direction unless he walked that way. The garden, surrounded by shrubs and trees, is a secluded place. I rarely come here usually. Ika sat down on one of the seats in the booth. The tables and benches surrounding the four directions are all made of wood. Sitting here has a particularly comfortable feeling. This place is generally used for activities such as small tea parties or book clubs, but these are not related to Ika. Way 11 and the other two girls may often be invited to participate in such activities. Brother Ika. What's wrong? Are you finally willing to express your feelings? Ika looked at Way 11, who was sitting neatly on the bench next to her. Instead of looking in Ika's direction, she put her hands on the table and poked her fingers at each other. I'm timid and don't dare to look into other people's eyes and speak. I'm always worried that others will think bad of me before I do anything, so I always hope that I can do what I need to do without attracting others' attention. Just finish the work, even now, if you don't realize it, you will still make the same mistake. When I was in the orphanage and the Holy See, Xiaoun never left my side. The day Xiaoun was not by my side for the first time, I did something irreversible. Wei 11's voice was choked with sobs. That day she mentioned must be the Holy See siege against the Heinz family. That day, Wei 11 walked out of the birdcage for the first time, leaving behind a very cruel memory. Taking this as an opportunity, she stubbornly hid back in the birdcage. Ika, Ling and Luoluo gave her a home and at the same time imprisoned her in this home. This is not the result Ika hoped to see. But as far as the current situation is concerned, after releasing her, it will be like an animal raised by humans being released into the wild. She will not have the strength to survive on her own. With her own encouragement, Wei 11 began to become friends with her classmates. However, this is just a bigger birdcage. Wei 11 will not take the initiative to step out of the circle she has drawn, because only there can she feel at ease and not have to think too much. She only needs to make good use of her ability to observe words and emotions, so that she can live a normal and stable life. Wei 11 only had this humble wish in her heart. Don't rush to deny it. To be honest, if you completely subvert your image, I think it might be difficult for everyone to adapt. But, Wei 11's momentum weakened again, but, if this continues, I will only become a burden to you. I don't like your idea, Ika forcefully interrupted Wei 11's self-pity. Ling and Luoluo both like to take care of people, you know, right? And, thanks to my sister, I also very good at coaxing children. Of course you can't say this to Wei 11. So, if you are dissatisfied with yourself, just change yourself. Just do whatever you want and don't think about complicated things. If you really can't do it, come to me or them. Although it's just my own understanding, we should be called a family-like relationship, right? Family. So, that's it? Ika looked away unnaturally. If you need help from me, there's no need to hesitate. Then please come with me to the kingdom of Tiburai, okay? Supporting the table, Wei 11 suddenly stood up and took advantage of the momentum to speak out her invitation to Ika. Of course, what? Ika suspected that she had missed something. Then, come with me, to the kingdom of Tiburai. The momentum just now has passed. Wei 11, who repeated the invitation intermittently, weakly sat back to her original position, burying her head deeper than before. Is there some misunderstanding? Going abroad? Just the two of us? Why? Wait. Let me reorganize it. Ika pressed her eyebrows and reviewed the conversation just now. You discovered your timid shortcomings, so I said you should work hard to change. If you can't do it alone, if so, come to me to discuss it. Are you going to go abroad next? If we sum up what we just said, it is indeed like this. The jump is too fast, a bit incomprehensible. By the way, why do you have to go abroad? Shimatsuki Academy is going to conduct exchanges and studies with Wangli Academy in the kingdom of Tiburai this time. We will study with them for a period of time. The most important words have been said, and there is nothing to be afraid of. Are you going to? Principal Phyllis asked me to participate. What you mean, is it better to wait until Luoluo and Ling come back? There can only be one person. After connecting Wei 11's words together, Ika knew what she wanted to express. At what time? The exchange study with Tiburai Wangli Academy started in early February. Time is not a problem. I want to. Wei 11 raised her voice uncharacteristically, inserting herself into Ika's thoughts. I want to go when the winter vacation starts. Isn't that a month early? Shouldn't we do this kind of thing with the tutors in our academy? As long as we can meet them at the airport of Tiburai Kingdom, I want to go there first and have a look. Ika didn't answer right away. He understood what Wei 11 meant, and what he was thinking about now was how to explain it to Ling and Luoluo. No one has made plans for this long vacation yet, so making this decision will not cause any inconvenience. But if he and Wei 11 went to the Tiburai Kingdom, they would have to stay and they would not be able to see each other again until 2 months later. That's why it's so troublesome. Brother Ika. It would be great if both Sister Ling and Luoluo could agree. At this time, Abby and Zixi must also be working hard. In order not to let their efforts go to waste, they must succeed. I will try my best to explain it clearly to them when I go home at night. Is it up to you? Wei 11 would take the initiative to take on such a troublesome task, which surprised Ika slightly. Yes, I will try my best. The two of them must understand. Then, it is definitely more appropriate for the person involved to explain this kind of thing than Ika. I will leave it to you first, and I will come forward with you. If they really have no objection, I will accompany you. Go to the kingdom of Tiburai. Is it really possible? Hearing Ika's last words, Wei 11's wide, moist eyes reflected the light of joy. Well, it's a deal. Very good. Wei 11 stroked her chest and breathed a sigh of relief. Once she felt relieved, her tense body lost its strength. Would you like to say hello to Senior Lilith? We won't be able to meet you soon. Okay. Wei 11 tried to stand up, but her legs were still shaking uncontrollably. There were more and more tears in her eyes, threatening to overflow at any time. Haha, it's okay, just take a rest. Ika smiled bitterly and comforted Wei 11, who was filled with shame, and then sat slightly closer to her. The sparse sunlight spreads down through the complicated dead branches, and the tops of the piles of fallen leaves shine with brilliant gold. This winter is warmer than ever. Endless Silver Machine. Author, Muse Hiking. Chapter 80. The meeting place sent by Tairuya Senpai was not far from Shichizuki Academy. It did not enter the business district, but was located in a small cafe nearby. Ling walked all the way here, and after opening the door, she immediately saw Senior Lucia's red hair that was like dancing flames. Hey, good afternoon. Tairuya Senpai, who raised her head, raised her hand slightly and said hello to Ling, who was walking towards her. Tairuya Senpai is now wearing winter casual clothes, and the atmosphere she exudes is completely different from when she was wearing Shichizuki Academy uniform. In the eyes of people around her, maybe she is just a sister here waiting for her sister. Good afternoon, Tairuya Senpai. This is the first time that Ling and Senior Tairuya have met in such a private setting since they entered school. She knew in her heart why Tairuya Senpai requested this meeting, so she was confused about what attitude she should take. On the way here, Ling simulated various ways in his mind, but none of them satisfied him. However, when I saw Tairuya Senpai for the first time, the name she was accustomed to being called in the discipline team blurted out. Pulling out the chair, Ling sat across from Senior Tairuya. Can regular afternoon tea be okay? Okay. Tairuya Senpai placed an additional order from the waiter who came over, and the money for the cup was charged to her account. It was always Tairuya Senpai who spoke first, so Ling could only choose to follow her wishes. Before entering Shimizuki Academy, Ling always thought that Tairuya was the same age as him and never thought that she would be his senior. That's why Ling is so entangled in his attitude now. In the discipline team, Tairuya Senpai treats herself and other team members equally, and Ling cannot see through her thoughts at all. During the period when the winter vacation was approaching, I kept looking for excuses to avoid the invitations that Senior Tairuya sent out from time to time after the training camp because at that time, I was not mentally prepared. Thanks. The steaming teacup was delivered to Ling's table by the waiter. How do you feel about the discipline team? Tairuya stirred the small spoon in her cup and looked at Ling. Nothing to be dissatisfied with. That's good if you think so. To be honest, someone has applied to withdraw from the discipline team before. Except for the incident at the end of the semester, the rest of the semester has been passed safely. But once there is a need for us, the burden will not be ordinary. It's so heavy that it's hard for some people to stick to it. It would be great if you could keep this kind of thinking. Senior Tairuya still had her usual attitude, as if she was just the senior who was patiently enlightening the junior. Ling began to doubt the significance of this meeting. Did you call yourself here just to confirm this kind of thing? She tried hard to suppress the anxiety in her heart. Tairua-senpai. Why do you want to serve as the vice president of the student union and the leader of the discipline section at the same time? Isn't this very hard? Haha, many people have asked me this question. Senior Tairua smiled. Actually, there is no particularly noble reason. The leader of the discipline team must be a second-year student. This is not right. Written rules. The person who was originally expected to be the team leader because of her ability was a friend who was in the same class as me. After serving for a period of time, she felt the pressure was too great, so she came to me for discussion. So, I temporarily took over this task on her behalf, and I didn't expect that I would have to do it for more than a year. If you say so, senior sister, you. But everyone knows that I am only the nominal leader. If I find someone suitable for this position, I can safely educate that useless president. Am I the only one who doesn't know? Maybe so. Ling didn't know what to say next. Tairua might no longer be the leader of the discipline team at any time, which should have made him breathe a sigh of relief. But where does this feeling of blockage in the chest come from? Let's not talk about work today, let's talk about other things. Senior sister Tilyuya changed the topic. You should also have something you want to ask, right? The shop was so quiet that it seemed like there were only two people left. The small spoon touched the edge of the teacup and made a crisp sound. Tairua-senpai gave Ling the opportunity to start. The days of wondering each other's thoughts have finally come to an end. When Ika and Wei 11 said goodbye to Senior Lilith in the big library, the night had already begun to fall on the horizon. Not a single light came through the windows of the caretaker's cabin. Aren't they back yet? It's almost dinner time. Ika inserted the key into the keyhole, took the lead into the dark hall, and turned on the light. Wei 11, who came in later, arranged her boots and Ika's shoes at the entrance. I suddenly had an interesting idea. Brother Ika. The two of us will make dinner today and give them a surprise. But, Brother Ika, you don't have any experience. So. Ika bowed her head towards Wei 11 solemnly. I will be responsible for the physical work. Wei 11, I leave my guidance to you. Wei 11's thinking was short-circuited again. Well, although I don't know how to cook at all, I just do a little chore every time. I don't know how much ingredients should be put in. I can't move the pot filled with water, and I can't hold the knife steadily. The more Wei 11 talked, the more frustrated she became. Her inherent inferiority complex was infinitely amplified at this time. So, I'll do it. You just need to tell me what I should do. Ika touched her head and asked her to lift it up. We'll start after changing clothes. Okay, please give me more advice. I am the one, please give me some advice. After the two said this face to face, an awkward feeling arose spontaneously. Ika couldn't help laughing. Wei 11's face turned redder and she buried her head deeply. Then I'll go back to the room first. Wei 11 silently followed Ika to the second floor, and the two of them walked into different rooms. I don't have my apron. Standing in front of the cooking table, Ika discovered this problem. Wei 11's apron is the one she wore at Liuyan's house before, with a little yellow duck pattern woven on the chest. Forget it, let's just do it like this. Ika originally found it troublesome to wear an apron. What should we do first? Wei 11 was taking out vegetables and meat wrapped in ice from the freezer and placing them in the basket next to her. Thaw the meat in water first. She held the whole piece of meat in her hands. It's so cold. My hand accidentally slipped, and the whole piece of meat fell into a bowl filled with water, and most of the water inside splashed out. Fortunately, Wei 11 was wearing an apron now, otherwise her clothes would have been soaked. Is it okay? Yeah, Sorry. She didn't bother to wring out her apron, but quickly wiped the water stains on the table with a rag. Take it off first. Eh. Take off your apron and dry it first. I'll clean it up here. No. This is my mistake. Then put it here first. You can dry the clothes first and then pack them up. Ika gave in. Sorry. Way 11 repeated it in a low voice and untied her apron that was splashed. The caretaker's cabin was not equipped with a special device for drying clothes, so it had to be hung next to the central heater. The area soaked by water is not large and it only takes a few minutes to dry out. Instead, Way 11 put on Luolo's apron. Luolo's apron was a bit too long for her, and it made it even more difficult to move around after wearing it. You wash and peel the vegetables, and I'll cut the meat. It was already doomed that it would be impossible to cook as sumptuous dinner as usual for the rest of the evening, and we were short on manpower, so we just kept it simple. I will make sure I don't make any mistakes again. Take your time. Ling and Luolo just responded to my text messages. They will be back around 7 o'clock, there is still an hour. Okay. Way 11 stroked a strand of hair hanging down with the back of her hand. Ika's kitchen knife fell on the chopping board, and the tapping sounds of varying degrees of severity continued to come from beside her, echoing in her ears. With this as an accompaniment, Way 11 showed a faint smile. Within the expected time, Ling and Luolo returned home one after another. The dinner prepared by Ika and Way 11 was beyond their expectations. In Ling's words, when they received a text message from Ika asking when they would be back, they all thought it was Ika and Way 11 who were about to faint from hunger and sent a distress signal, so they sped up their return. While Ling and Luolo went back to the room to change clothes, Ika and Way 11 put the dinner that had been prepared on the table. Abby and Zixi invited me to play in the southern part of the imperial capital during the winter vacation. Both of their homes are there. Luolo told the dinner table what happened after being taken away by two friends in the afternoon, and I'll help ask Sister Ling if she has time to come together. I still have time, but... Luolo and Ling looked at the two people who were excluded from the invitation at the same time. I asked them at that time if my brother and Xiao 11 could come together. They said that if you two don't have separate arrangements, you can come together. Luolo's eyes were very complicated. Brother, Xiao 11, between you two, is there something you are hiding from us? Abby and Zixi should know. Luolo, didn't you ask on the spot? As soon as Ling heard the statement, he immediately understood something. I want to hear my brother say it himself. Luolo looked straight at Ika. The movements of Ika and Way 11's hands stopped unnaturally. Actually it is. Brother Ika. Way 11 took a deep breath. She had already thought about what she wanted to say a few hours ago. After listening to Way 11's explanation of the incident, Ling and Luolo were completely speechless. Going abroad is not a trivial matter, and Ika and Way 11 will have to live in a foreign country for a month without any support. There were so many things to complain about, and they had no idea where to start. Just like Way 11 said, if we go to the Tiburai Kingdom, we won't be able to accompany you during the entire winter vacation. The Tiburai Kingdom is also being rebuilt now, right? Remember, their rebuilding speed is not as fast as that of the BZ Empire. There should still be many inconveniences. Hey, is that so? The reconstruction speed is indeed not as fast as that of the BZ Empire. Way 11 confirmed Ling's words. However, all normal life problems have been solved long ago, so there should be nothing to worry about. What about money? Going abroad requires a lot of money, right? This, Shiyu Academy will provide. Way 11 gave reasonable solutions to the problems that Ling was worried about. Xiao 11, you. I'm sorry, I'm here to ask for your help. Ika also bowed his head to Luolo and Ling, although from the perspective of safety, Ling is more suitable than me. In terms of life, I am not as good as Luolo. But, since Way 11 has come to ask me for help, I don't want to disappoint her. Saying such words in front of Way 11 herself, Aika felt like her face was on fire. But he had already promised that he would work with her to persuade Luoluo and Ling. So now I must put down my dignity and tell them what I am thinking. If you can only be accompanied by one person, it would be more convenient to have a boy. Ling's words basically agreed to their request. Wait a minute, Luoluo discovered a blind spot in his thinking. The exchange study only starts in February, so if you go before then, you don't have to be subject to the Academy's number limit, right? That's right. Aika was speechless for a moment. But what about Abby and Zixie's invitation? Do you want to refuse? Ling reminded Luoluo, she had just forgotten this in the excitement. This. I personally think it's not a good choice to change my mind after agreeing. Silence fell on the table again. As the person involved, Way 11 looked at the faces of the three people alternately. She had already thought about this situation, but she didn't expect that it would be so painful when she actually faced it. She opened her mouth slightly, but nothing came out. There's nothing we can do about it? In the end, Luoluo had no choice but to agree to Aika and Way 11's too bold decision. But, she added a condition, brother, Xiao 11, if something happens that neither of us can solve, you must contact us immediately. The idea of taking a gamble is absolutely not allowed, do you understand? My sister's words will definitely be kept in mind. Luoluo, Sister Ling, don't worry. I will take good care of brother Aika and will never let him take risks. After getting the consent of Luoluo and Ling, Way 11 finally relaxed. What she was most worried about did not happen. If it really turned into that situation, she would make up her mind to reject Principal Phyllis's request. The next day, Aika and Way 11 came to the principal's office together. After confirming Aika's thoughts, Principal Phyllis briefly explained a few things to note before letting them leave. The departure date was set for the last day of December, 4 days later. It is estimated that it will take a day to travel to the Tiburai Kingdom by airship from the neutral area. With the help of Luoluo and Ling, Aika and Way 11 prepared the things they must bring to live in the Tiburai Kingdom. After that, the two of them immediately followed Abby and Zixie to the southern district of the imperial capital. In the remaining days, Aika was forced to learn some basic knowledge about airships and magic ships due to Professor Kokina's mandatory requirements. Professor Kokina insists that humans should not get into machines they do not understand. With the experience of making dinner together for the first time, plus the fact that Luoluo and Ling were not at home these days, the moonlight bath was closed, and the two had to prepare 3 meals by themselves. The efficiency of Aika and Way 11's cooperation has improved a lot compared to before. In the first few days, Luoluo contacted Aika no less than 3 times a day. This was the first time that my brother was in a place that he couldn't reach and could only find a sense of peace of mind from his words. During the phone call with Luoluo, Aika repeatedly promised that if there were any problems, she would contact her proactively, which made Luoluo's contact frequency decrease. This year is coming to an end. Looking back on the past year, it is no exaggeration to say that it has been very fulfilling. Along the way, everyone stopped and walked, bumped, and supported each other. What I gained during this year was not only profound memories, but also growth, both physically and mentally. Although we are separated in 2 places during the New Year's Eve, our hearts are still connected to each other. So convinced. Endless Silver Machine. Author, Muse Hiking. Chapter 81. Airships and magic ships are now the main means of transportation for long distances. In terms of working principles, the two are very similar, but their appearance, size, and purpose are completely different. As a civilian means of transportation, airships are only equipped with some instruments necessary for aviation and a large enough passenger compartment. An airship can carry up to 200 passengers and has a cargo compartment at the rear. Most of the magic ships are of military type, and the ships are generally equipped with mechanical and magic ship-based guns, which can deploy protective force fields throughout the ship. Although the hull is about twice as large as a civilian airship, the standard carrying capacity is only double digits at most. The reactor, which is the power source of the magic ship, is located in the middle of the ship and occupies one-third of the entire ship. The stored magic particles collide at high speed to generate nearly unlimited energy to maintain all functions of the magic ship. It is a hard device that must be protected at all levels. An airship can reach a maximum height of about 3,000 meters above the ground, but the ultimate height of a magic ship is much higher than this value, so the air in the airship cockpit does not need to be pressurized like a magic ship. But for safety reasons, all airships are still equipped with pressurization devices to prevent extraordinary situations from happening. Aika was very interested in the magic ship that she had never seen with her own eyes. Even so, because he and Wei 11 left for the Tiburai Kingdom one step ahead of time, they lost the opportunity to board the Frost Moon Academy magic ship. But Aika didn't feel sorry for this. The passenger cabin of the airship is divided into 3 sections. Wei 11's ticket was bought with Aika's help, so the 2 people's seat numbers are connected together and they are located in the back cabin. Wei 11's seat was originally close to the aisle, but Aika exchanged her ticket with her and let her sit where she could see out the window. "How do you feel?" Aika looked at the girl next to her, who was excitedly lying in front of the glass window looking at the gradually smaller houses and forests. If Wei 11 had a big fluffy tail like Chiuke, it would be wagging non-stop now. So beautiful. As the height rises, thick white clouds have obscured the ground. The clear red sky is dotted with starlight that is difficult to see from the ground this season, and the horizon is divided into wonderful scenes of different light and darkness. It won't be long before darkness falls completely. Want to drink? Aika bought a bottle of drinking water from the flight attendant pushing the trolley, and waved the bottle in front of Wei 11's eyes. "Well, I'm a little thirsty." She reached between the partitions of the seats and groped around. There were disposable paper cups placed beside the partitions of each seat that could be used freely. Aika gave Wei 11 half a cup and placed it on the horizontally open table. "Thanks." Wei 11 held the small paper cup in her hands and took a sip. Ling and Luoluo don't live together now. Because of the warm invitation of their parents, Luoluo and Ling stayed in Abi and Zixie's homes respectively. They planned to stay in the imperial capital for a week and then return to Shimizuki Academy. Although Aika and Wei 11 are far away in a foreign country, it is still their home. Ling wiped her hair and walked into the guest room of Zixie's house. The TV mounted on the wall was playing the evening news. "It's finally going to snow." Ling sat on the edge of the bed, listening to the news analyzing the weather in the BZ Empire in the next few days. "They seem to be leaving tonight," she said to herself. There was no sign of snow falling outside the window. "Sister, are you asleep? I hope they can arrive safely." After Ling told herself in her heart, she stood up and opened the door to Zixie who was waiting outside the room. "Dear passengers, this flight is expected to pass through a snowy area in half an hour. The aircraft will experience slight turbulence. Please fasten your seat belts." This already recorded broadcast was played from the airship's loudspeaker. Because it was flying above the clouds and the wind and snow area was very small, the airship for this flight still took off according to the scheduled plan. "Wei 11, have you fastened your seat belt? It should be fine." Aika checked the interface of the 2 people's seat belts and confirmed that the connection was normal. "Well, that's it." He leaned on the back of the seat. "Would you like to take a nap first? You may not feel the bumps after you fall asleep." The 2 of them had just been chatting about irrelevant gossip to pass the time. It was now Wei 11's normal rest time at home, and her eyes were already looking tired. "It doesn't matter to me, when brother Aika wants to sleep, I will sleep with him. Ling will be angry if you don't sleep well. I promised them that I will never hide anything during this trip. You know that, right?" Aika pretended to be serious and moved out of the Ling mountain. As long as it's Ling's words, Way 11 will obey them obediently. Although taking advantage of this made Ika feel guilty, for the sake of Way 11's growing body, this pain was not worth mentioning. I see. Way 11 lowered her eyes in disappointment. Ika reached out and lowered the light-blocking curtains on the window, and then after communicating with the passenger behind Way 11, she lowered the back of her seat slightly. That's enough. He checked Way 11's seat belt again. Don't worry, I will sleep right after we pass the snowy area. Well, brother Ika, good night. Good night and sweet dreams. Thanks. The central heating was on in the airship, and Ika covered Way 11's body with the thin blanket that she brought with her on the airship. Within a few minutes, he heard Way 11 breathing softly. After the airship entered the snowy area, the turbulence of the fuselage was not as severe as expected. Way 11, who had already passed through a light sleep state, would not wake up due to this level of vibration. Ika pulled the blanket up on her body, then leaned back on the chair to rest. What forced him to open his recently closed eyes was not the shaking of the fuselage, but the vibration of the PDA. Just a few months ago, the law allowing the use of PDAs and other communication tools on airships passed final review. Originally, this type of machine could easily cause interference to the airship's navigation system and other equipment. If the use of PDAs was prohibited, it would cause various inconveniences. Therefore, after introducing magic technology into purely mechanical civilian airships and conducting detailed tests for a long time, this restriction was lifted. It was Ling who sent the text message. I'm not looking for you. Is Way 11 asleep? Ika chuckled. The words were originally meant to scare Way 11, but unexpectedly they actually came true. Leave this message for her to read tomorrow morning, and the effect may be doubled. Ika typed her reply while thinking about something that would make even Way 11 angry. I put her to bed at 10 o'clock, and now we are on the airship. Is it snowing there? The news says it will snow in the imperial capital tonight. On the clouds, you can't see the snow scene. But now it is indeed flying in the snowy area. Do you have any special feeling? A little wobbly, but okay. New. This time Ling only replied with 3 words. Zixi should be by her side now, so she won't continue to disturb them. Ika put the PDA away. After a few minutes, he opened his eyes again. Have you covered Way 11 with a blanket? Don't let her catch a cold, you won't take care of her at all if she does. Please pay some attention to me. Don't worry, I did as you asked. After a few seconds, she added another one. Be safe. There is still something cute about this guy. The bumpy feeling of the airship was more obvious than before. Woo. Way 11, are you awake? Way 11 rubbed her sleepy eyes and sat up from the supine chair. Are you still in the snowy area now? Probably yes. The bulletin board in the waiting hall says that it will take about 90 minutes to pass through the wind and snow area, so it will take another hour to stabilize. Can't sleep. My head is very clear. This kind of situation happens often. After a short rest, you lose your tiredness and start staying up late, but you will pay a painful price the next day. Sorry, I have to leave for a while. Way 11 unbuckled her seat belt. I'll be back soon. Ika knew what this meant. After all, Ling had made her remember with her body that there were some things that she couldn't ask out loud. Be careful. Way 11 nodded, and then walked along the aisle toward the cabin. The toilet is located between the 2 passenger compartments. There were no other passengers using it now, so Way 11 quickly solved the physical problem. After washing her hands with warm water at the sink outside the bathroom, she put her hands into the hot air hand dryer. She couldn't do anything else at this time, so she slightly poked her head out and looked inside through the glass on the isolation door of the middle cabin. But nothing new was discovered. Go back quickly. Thinking of the agreement with Ika, Way 11 quickly pulled her hand out of the warm wind. Before leaving, she looked in the mirror in front of the wash basin and combed her hair that had been messed up just now with her hands. Another passenger also came to the compartment, and the bathroom was only equipped with one for each compartment. In order not to cause trouble to the other party, she hurried past him with her head lowered and prepared to return to the back cabin. As she passed by, a hard object was suddenly pressed against her waist, and Way 11's consciousness was interrupted. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Endless Silver Machine. Author, Muse Hiking. Chapter 82. It's so slow. Aika kept tapping her fingers on the armrest of her seat. It's been more than 10 minutes, and Way 11 hasn't come back yet. It was impossible to find her in the bathroom at this time, and I received no reply to the messages I sent to her PDA. Are you lost? Suddenly, the airship shook violently. If he hadn't fastened his seat belt, Aika would have hit the armrest of the seat in front of him just now. The vibration still didn't stop. It didn't seem to be affected by the airflow in the snowy area. Aika couldn't sit still. He unbuckled his seat belt and opened the door to the compartment, where the bathroom was now unoccupied. Go to the front stall. Aika opened the middle cabin door, and many passengers who were awakened by the vibration began to talk. If an accident occurs, the lights in the cabin will be turned on to maximum brightness. But now the cabin is still dimly lit, suitable for resting. After walking through the long aisle, Aika came to the compartments between the middle cabin and the forward cabin. The bathrooms here were still unused. Cold sweat broke out on Aika's back. Excuse me, was there a little girl about 10 years old with white hair walking past here just now? Sorry, please ask. He hurried back to the middle cabin and asked the passengers sitting in the aisle one by one. But most of them had just woken up and didn't notice anyone passing by. Just when Aika was about to lose his cool, a little boy sitting inside told him the information he needed. Little sister with white hair, I saw her just now. Really? It seems that she fell asleep, and her father carried her to the front. Dad lost consciousness and was taken away by unknown people. Aika's first thought was abduction, but in such a closed space and in a high altitude far away from the ground, what was the point of abduction? Thanks. As soon as Aika stood up, the airship shook violently again. Someone couldn't control it and screamed. Fear suddenly spread throughout the middle cabin. The discussion gradually became noisy. Hey, is the height decreasing? Someone looked out the window and shouted. This statement, whether true or false, amplified the level of panic. Complaints spread everywhere. Some people held onto their seats tightly and did not dare to let go. Some people stood up and walked towards other passenger compartments with panic on their faces. Regardless of whether the height is falling as the person said, the current situation is obviously abnormal. Aika held the backrests of each seat and rushed to the front cabin. If the little boy saw it correctly, Way 11 was right in front of her. The front cabin was also in a mess. After asking the passengers here, they indeed provided the same information as the little boy. But if you continue forward, you will find the cockpit. If it was abduction, why would you go to that place? Full of doubts and anxiety, Aika stumbled towards the last compartment in the swaying aisle. There are already newcomers here, and the confused passengers are knocking on the isolation door leading to the cockpit and shouting something. The isolation door is only closed and cannot be opened from the outside. Aika has known this for a long time, but if she doesn't move forward, she won't be able to see Way 11. Perhaps they found that it was useless to continue banging on the door. They cursed and gave up what they were doing and retreated to the front cabin. Aika doesn't know what to do either. In the final analysis, it is not certain whether the current situation of the airship is caused by man-made factors or whether Way 11 is safe now. Affected by Ling, when Ika saw the closed hatch, her first thought was to blast the door open with the fiery eyes. But on the other side of the door, the pilots may be working hard to adjust the airship's condition, and Way 11 may have fainted for other reasons and was sent here to take care of her. If the body is destroyed rashly, it may lead to a more serious situation. What should you do at this time? Ika's hand unconsciously reached into his pocket, and his fingertips felt the cold touch of the PDA. He clutched the PDA tightly but didn't take it out. Brother, Xiao 11, if something happens that neither of us can solve, you must contact us immediately. The idea of taking a gamble is absolutely not allowed, do you understand? That day, the agreement with Luoluo came to mind. The strength in Ika's hand became stronger. Do you want to contact Luoluo and Ling now? What's the use of this? This was isolated and helpless, higher than the clouds in the sky. It had no effect other than bringing them unnecessary worries. Are you looking for someone? The crisp sound diverted Ika's attention from the chaos. Behind him stood a girl of similar age to him. It looks like he is dressed like an ordinary passenger, with neat short hair and a small beret on his head, giving him a vague sense of being capable. The girl stared straight at Ika, her hands behind her back. Yeah. Have you ever seen a girl about 10 years old with white hair? What's your relationship with her? The girl did not rush to answer Ika's question, but asked this question first. I am her brother. In a sense, Ika did not lie to her, and this explanation was simple and easy to understand. But before he finished speaking, the girl frowned. Ika's reflexes developed by Ling allowed him to use his arms to block the girl's kick. Stop lying, Master Way 11 has no brother at all. Why would you? There is nowhere to hide in the small compartment. Ika was stunned, and the girl took advantage of the gap to grab his arm, twisted it in an unnatural direction, and pressed his body against the wall of the compartment. The girl didn't use much strength, but Ika couldn't make any struggling movements at all. Who the hell are you? As long as the girl's hand exerts even a little force, Ika's arm will dislocate. I also want to ask you this question. Answer me first. Ika felt sharp pain in her joints. In order to suppress him, the girl's body pressed tightly against Ika. This safety measure gave Ika an opportunity. With his other free hand, he pressed the muzzle of the fire eye against the girl's abdomen based on his feeling. She couldn't dodge the shot from this distance. Let go. Ika coldly threatens the unidentified girl both physically and mentally. The two were in a stalemate for a few seconds. The girl first let go of Ika's arm, and at the same time jumped back to widen the distance between them. I am her friend and classmate. So who are you and why do you know her name? Ika did not lower the gun. Is that so? I did hear that there is a boy beside Master Way 11 now. Could it be that he is talking about you? Where did you hear that? Don't worry about it. If that's the case, I'm not your enemy. Lord Way 11 should be in the cab. But the door cannot be opened from the outside. Just destroy it. If you want to stop the current situation, you can only go inside. And be careful, your opponent doesn't know how powerful it is. You seem to know the reason for this situation. Let's just say our interests are the same as yours. I've discovered Master Way 11's situation a long time ago, but I couldn't escape due to some reasons. How about joining forces with me? Since you know so much, tell me all the information about the other party. I don't know very well. I just know that I can't take it lightly, that's all. My magic, weapons are inconvenient to use in a place like this. I'll leave it to you to open the door. The girl looked at the silver pistol in his hand. When it comes to this, I can only choose to believe her, although I don't know if she deliberately called Way 11 Sir Way 11, Ika didn't feel any danger from her. Stand away. Ika kept condensing the magic power at the muzzle of the gun. When a sufficient amount was reached, he pulled the trigger against the isolation door. A big hole was made in the door lock, and the mechanical lock lost its function. The moment the door lock was broken, the girl kicked open the isolation door and rushed in. Such a loud movement must have attracted the attention of the cockpit. Aika transformed the magic power into the shape of a short knife at the muzzle of the gun, and followed closely behind the girl. In the narrow cockpit, two men who looked like pilots collapsed under the seats like mud. Beside the driver's seat, Way 11's hands were restrained by glowing blue handcuffs on fixed iron pipes, and her eyes were covered with black cloth as she knelt on the ground. After hearing the footsteps, her whole body trembled, and her legs kept moving back. But behind was the console, and the cold steel told Way 11 the fact that there was nowhere to hide. Way 11, I'm coming over now. Aika, brother. Hearing the familiar voice, Way 11 no longer dodged, but shook her head vigorously, get out of here quickly. She cried out in a hoarse voice. She must have been crying for a long time before that. Wait, Aika. As soon as the girl finished speaking, explosions occurred everywhere in the cab, and thick smoke and flames swept through the entire cab. The girl kicked Aika down and pinned her to the ground at the moment of the explosion, avoiding the fragments that flew away like bullets. Ahem. Way 11 accidentally inhaled the thick smoke produced by the explosion and coughed out in pain. The fire protection device was not activated, and thick smoke was swept away from the broken windows, and some unsecured items were also sucked out. The speed of the airship is not very fast, so human weight will not be carried out of the window. Aika ran to Way 11 who was restrained in place. Are you hurt? No. This was a blessing among misfortunes. Aika took off the black cloth that was soaked with tears. Way 11's big eyes were full of panic, and they became calmer only when she saw Aika's face. Master Way 11, let me help you unlock your handcuffs now. The girl knelt down behind Way 11 and checked the handcuffs that restrained Way 11's hands. This kind of handcuffs will inhibit the flow of magic power, and it will take some time to untie them. I'll be on guard, just open this with peace of mind. The enemy might take advantage of everyone's relaxed vigilance to attack at any time. Aika cautiously raised his guns and guarded the entrance against the strong wind. Not okay yet. Immediately. With a click, the lock on the handcuffs was finally unlocked. The girl helped Way 11 stand up, and let go after Aika held the other side. Way 11's legs in her arms went weak, but thanks to Aika's support, she didn't sit on the ground. Let's get out of here first. The girl urged. Aika resisted the urge to have an attack, picked up Way 11's small body, and followed the girl out of the cab. When he arrived at the compartment, Aika glanced at the front cabin through the glass. Because of the explosion just now, the passengers in the front cabin who didn't know the truth fled to the back. Aika put Way 11 down in the compartment. But her legs were still trembling, and she could only stand up by leaning on Aika's body. Are you having a spasm? This is the sequelae of being shocked. The girl gently touched Way 11's calf. What happened? I don't know, I just remember leaving the bathroom, I was there when I woke up. As Way 11 spoke, tears welled up in her eyes. Just remembering it is painful enough. Aika gave up her chest and let Way 11 cry loudly. The airship was now in a shaky state. While comforting Way 11 who was crying, Aika and the girl quickly exchanged opinions. What should we do now? The entire operating system of the airship has been destroyed. It should be an established fact that it will crash sooner or later. By the way, you are really calm. Don't most people say some meaningless words at this time? You can still joke like this, you are not an ordinary person. Me, the girl spread her hands, I just expected this situation to happen. If there is no problem with the driving system, I can barely control the airship to land. But in this situation, there is no place for me to use technology. I used it. If the altitude continues to drop, it will fly below the clouds. We haven't left the snowy area yet. There should be a blizzard under the clouds, right? Once the airship, whose operating system has been almost destroyed, is caught in a blizzard, there is only one fate. I'm sorry. After turning the fear in her heart into tears, Way 11 calmed down a little. It's all because of me. This has nothing to do with you at all. You are just being dragged down. Way 11's apology made Aika's anger suddenly rise. Why is she the one who needs to take the responsibility? She obviously did nothing wrong. Why was she the one who had to apologize? She was obviously the one who was hurt the most. The heart beats wildly in the chest, sending boiling blood to the brain. Those people must have recognized me to restrict my magic power. They should be from the Empire. Did you see the other person's face? No. After her eyes were covered, Way 11 only knew that there were bombs around her that would explode at some point. Death doesn't know when it will come, but the other party just wants Way 11 to spend every second in fear. Playing with her viciously like this, Aika's fingernails hurt her palms. Definitely kill him. Brother Aika. Aika unconsciously showed a fierce expression that Way 11 had never seen before. She knew that Aika was angry for herself. Way 11 gently put her hand on Aika's chest. She had obviously decided to lend him her chest when he was in pain. When he made that move at Lilith Senpai's house, he had already made up his mind. But now, his chest was soaked with tears from his disappointment. The prisoner is still hiding among the guests. Sorry, I have to go back, there are still people waiting for me. The girl took out her PDA, they should think that you all died in the explosion. Don't expose yourself for the time being. If you think of any ideas, please contact me immediately. This is my contact information. The girl exchanged mailing addresses with Aika and ran back to the front cabin. After the girl left, Way 11 raised her head from Aika's chest. The red eyes tightly grasped Aika's heart, and there were still tears on her face. Aika knew that Way 11's handkerchief was in her coat pocket. The handkerchief was not stained by the dust of the explosion like the coat, and Aika helped her wipe her cheeks stained by tears. Can you stand up? No problem. With that said, the airship bumped again, and Way 11 bumped into Aika before she could stand still. Fortunately, he reached out and hugged her waist in time. Be careful and go back to the cockpit first. Aika supported Way 11 and walked back slowly. When he passed the compartment door, he glanced into the forward cabin through the glass. There was no one in the cabin. It was probably the girl who spread the information about the fire ahead and dispersed the people in the passenger compartment to facilitate her and Way 11's movements. Aika silently thanked her in her heart. Endless Silver Machine. Author, Muse Hiking. Chapter 83. As long as the power center of the airship is not damaged, even if the operating system is paralyzed, it will only slowly lower its height and will not fall directly from mid-air. This is the little knowledge Aika learned from Professor Kokina before setting off. If there is peace under the clouds, few airships will explode when landing, and casualties can be minimized. But things didn't go as planned. The smoke in the cab has completely cleared. The strong wind was still raging in the narrow room, but the window that was blown open was not very big, so it wouldn't be a problem if you paid a little attention. If the airship were to go faster, this crack would be torn open by the air pressure. Unexpectedly, the knowledge forced into her head by Professor Kokina would come in handy at such a time, and Aika felt mixed. Brother Aika, can the joystick here still work? It's probably useless. Aika tried pulling, but felt no resistance at all. Somewhere inside was probably broken due to the explosion. It's very close to the clouds. Regardless of the strong wind ruffling her long hair, Way 11 lay down at the window and looked outside. Aika pulled her back with an arrow. It's very dangerous. Don't go near the window. He didn't bother to warn her in a gentle tone. When he just saw this scene, Aika's heart suddenly rose to his throat. If he hadn't caught her in time, Wei 11 might have disappeared from her side. Ika is scared. Sorry. Be careful. He didn't comfort the depressed Wei 11 as usual, and now he couldn't even take care of himself. The operation panel in front of the driver's seat has become fragmented, and the two drivers still have not regained consciousness. Brother Ika. Looking at Ika, who was spinning around like a headless fly, Wei 11 timidly said, I have an idea. The passengers were all crowded into the middle and rear cabins, and even the three compartments were full of people. The warehouse cabin was locked, otherwise someone might still get inside. There seems to be a consensus that the farther away from the cockpit, the safer it is. But they never imagined how much impact the tilt of the fuselage would have if so many people's weight was concentrated on the rear of the airship. People who are like ants on a hot pot naturally have no time to rationally consider such details. Lan Ming, are you in contact there? In the corner of the cabin between the forward and middle cabins, the girl found her companion. The girl named Lan Ming wears a brown hat and small glasses, and hides nearly half of her face in a red scarf. Leaning her body against the partition, she just shook her head in response to the girl's question. The PDA cannot contact the outside world, and the signal can only be transmitted inside the machine. The surrounding passengers were already aware of this fact, so no one was on the call. The crowd was all standing and crowded together, and it was very difficult to move even a little bit. Everyone stopped pushing and shoving, but the noise remained the same. If the cabin was completely silent now, it would be difficult for the two of them to communicate. Did anyone notice you? I have been hiding here well, don't worry Charlotte. Charlotte blocked Lan Ming with her back and leaned into her ear, lowering her voice. Ms. Wei 11 has been rescued. The boy in the rumor is taking care of her now. Both of them are fine. I heard that he protected Shimizuki Academy from the 4th level monsters. He must be a very reliable boy. It doesn't feel that way. In terms of physical skills, it was a fact that he was far inferior to me. Being threatened with a gun by him was just because of his carelessness, not his strength at all. Charlotte convinced herself so. Let's not talk about it for now. Charlotte remembered that she had something important to tell Lan Ming. The operating system of the airship was completely destroyed by the explosion, and the altitude is now decreasing. If this continues, it will enter a blizzard. This is probably fate. Lan Ming closed his eyes and leaned against the wall as if giving up. I'm sorry, Charlotte, because of me. It's not time to give up yet. It will take some time to land under the clouds. There will definitely be a way. If there is no operating system, it is impossible to control the airship. You know that, right? That's right. Charlotte didn't want to admit defeat yet. Although I was mentally prepared when I boarded the airship, when I was actually faced with a difficult situation, I would not give in until the last moment. Now that things have come to this point, there is no point in hiding it anymore. If we are together with Master Wei 11, we should be able to find a way. By the way, where is the prisoner? Not in the cockpit. With this kind of suicide terrorist attack, it's hard to imagine that they will remain silent. Charlotte and Lan Ming stopped talking. The other party may not necessarily be stronger than the two of them combined. Their plan may just be to fake an air accident. The prisoner cannot protect himself, so he should be just a disposable character. Ika and Wei 11 now have to guard against sudden attacks while trying to find ways to save the situation. If we can eliminate the threat, join them, and ask for the help of the passengers, maybe we can really open up a way out. Lan Ming, is this really okay? Charlotte looked at Lan Ming, who had already made a decision, with worry and hesitation in his eyes. Otherwise, there is no other way. If you delay for one more minute, the risk will increase by 1 point, and the result may be the same, so I want to reduce some regrets as much as possible. Isn't this right? Lan Ming winked cutely at the confused Charlotte. Since she has said so, then she should fully support her. The only thing that can push her forward are her words. Yes, I will obey the orders of Her Royal Highness the Princess. Xiaoluo whispered the sentence into Lan Ming's ear, which he had already memorized by heart. No, this is not an order. Lan Ming raised his finger and pressed it on her lips. This is just my request. Holding Charlotte's hand, Lan Ming broke through the human walls. In front of the unnaturally vacant space at the isolation door, Lan Ming faced the crowd and took a deep breath. The passengers deliberately avoided standing in front of the door leading to the disaster, so the actions of the two girls naturally attracted the attention of many people around them. Lan Ming took off his glasses and contact lenses, and then took off the hat he had been wearing on his head. The long hair hidden in the hat poured out. Then, she took out her favorite hairpin from her pocket and pulled up her hanging hair. After completing these preparations, Lan Ming turned his head slightly and glanced behind him. Immediately, someone among the densely packed passengers let out a small exclamation. "Are you the third princess of the empire?" "Impossible, how could Her Royal Highness fly on such an airship?" "But it's really the same. Maybe they just look alike." "Everyone, please be quiet. It's not loud, but it's surprisingly effective." The passengers who were talking a lot did not continue to speak. All the eyes in the compartment were focused on Lan Ming. Even the passengers in the middle cabin poked their heads to find out. "I am the third princess of the BZ Empire, Lan Ming Yila." Image. After Lan Ming announced his identity personally, the gathered passengers became restless again. Charlotte alerted the approaching crowd, but no one really came forward. The onlookers who didn't know why kept their distance from them, but were very interested in the two of them. As the princess, Lan Ming has a good reputation among the people of the BZ Empire, and is respected as a national idol together with the fourth princess Zi Mingyila. However, not all the people on this airship were citizens of the BZ Empire, so most passengers only knew about Lan Ming from the news. And this is not important, because her and Charlotte's goal has been achieved. Really sorry. As a princess of a country, Lan Ming lowered her head to everyone. The originally noisy cabin instantly became silent, except for the faint sound of discussions coming from behind the cabin who didn't know what was going on. "This accident happened because of me. The criminal's target was me, and now everyone has been affected. I'm very sorry." Lan Ming did not raise his lowered head. Passengers' voices contained a wide range of emotions. There is confusion and dissatisfaction. "Hey, who is the culprit? Stand up like a man. That's right, you actually want to hurt Her Royal Highness the Princess, it's unforgivable. I don't know who took the lead." Gradually, the support for Lan Ming grew louder and louder, spreading from the compartment to the middle and rear cabins. "Everyone, please listen to me," Charlotte stood up. "The safety of the airship has been very perfect, and the explosion will not affect the landing. Next, I will go to the cockpit with Her Royal Highness to find a way to get through this. This is a difficult time, please cooperate with us and don't cause other unnecessary accidents out of panic." Did everyone hear this? Don't bring any more trouble to Her Royal Highness. Don't be crowded, there is enough room for us. Under Charlotte's instructions, the passengers consciously maintained law and order in the cabin. Lan Ming's plan will be temporarily changed here. It is impossible for the prisoner to take action against himself and Charlotte in this situation, so there is no way to fish him out. However, with the help of so many passengers, there is no need to worry about being suddenly attacked. Thank you everyone, I will try my best to avoid it developing into the worst state. Please don't leave your place. Even though this sentence is a request, it is also a command.